Hello, and welcome to Early Reading Steps to Literacy with Shurley English. Follow along with me as I demonstrate how Shurley English equips students to meet reading outcomes through these steps to literacy. Letter sound jingles, sound cards, multisensory practice, decoding, word analysis, word patterns, formative assessment, and literature analysis. We begin phonemic awareness and phonics training with jingles. First, students learn the alphabet jingle. The alphabet jingle is not the same thing as the ABC song. While the ABC song is useful, it doesn't help students learn the phonetic part of our alphabet. The tiny seeds of learning to decode words lie in the phonics of the ABCs, in their sounds. Listen to the alphabet jingle. A says A, B says B, C says K, S, D says D, E says E, F says F, G says G, J, H says H, I says I, J says J, K says K, and L says L, M says N says N, O says O, oo, P says P, Q says Qu, R says S says S, Z, T says T, U says U, and V says V, W says W, X says X, Z, Y says Y, I, E, Z says Z. As our reading approach unfolds, students learn the difference between consonants and vowels. Then, we teach them the vowel jingle. Our approach includes not 5 vowels, but 6. We teach the letter Y as a vowel alongside its cousin, the vowel I. They both make the same short and long sounds when Y is behaving like a vowel, which is its primary use in most English words. Listen to the vowel jingle. A, U, I, and Y, O, E. 6 simple vowels to learn, wait and see. Every English syllable has to have at least one vowel, I'm telling you now. Listen up, my children, as I sing this song. When you know your 6 vowels, sing along. A says A, ah. U says U, I and Y say I, O says O, oo. We're almost through. E says E, it has potentiality. A, U, I, and Y, O, E. A, U, I, and Y, O, E. A, U, I, and Y, O, E. You'll probably notice that vowels I and E have 2 sounds, both a short sound and a long sound. But in Shurley English, we also teach vowels A, U, and O have 3 sounds, a short sound, a long sound, and the third uncommon sound. It's important for students to be aware that vowels A, U, and O can carry that third sound. Throughout instruction, more sound jingles will be taught, including the Bert the Bird Hurts Earthworms jingle, which introduces all of the R-controlled vowels that say Then, we teach the prefix jingle, the suffixes for silent final E jingle, and the Y-words jingle, which helps students understand how to manipulate base words before adding affixes. And finally, the OUGH jingle. Since OUGH can have 6 sounds in our English words, we want to make sure that students are aware of all 6 options. In Shurley English, the letter sound jingles enable students to learn how to utter each sound clearly and precisely. It's important that they hear and practice the sounds correctly. Traditionally, examples like the consonants B and C would have been pronounced as such. B would say buh. But we want to make sure that students do not automatically add the short vowel U sound after the consonant unless it's supposed to be there. So listen to the difference. We teach the consonant B like this. B. Can you hear the difference? Instead of k and s, the letter C would sound like this, k and s. Now I'd like to introduce you to a key component to our program, the sound cards. The reading jingles provided the foundation for the teaching of these sound cards. Sound cards are the key strategy to teach letter sounds. Sound cards are organized in sets of sounds with similar attributes and are taught during sound time. Here you see an example of the front side of one of our sound cards. Students will see and hear the sound of the letter on the front of the card and then repeat it aloud. Each phoneme is introduced with its special mnemonic verse to help students remember it easily. As students see the letter or sound on the front of the card, this information is what the teacher sees on the back side of the card. The teacher and student will use the I say it, then you say it technique to recite the information written on the back of the card aloud. In our curriculum, there are 30 sets of sound cards. The 30 sets of cards are organized into 11 basic groups. These groups include sets 1 through 5, the basic sounds group, sets 6 through 10, the H digraphs group, and sets 11 and 12, the R-controlled vowel group. The next two groups are the double vowels and the end-guard letter teams. The double vowels are exactly what they sound like. They are the cards for the double E and the double O. The end-guard letter teams include 7 groups of sounds. Finally, we have the silent partner group, where each of the phonemes contains at least one silent letter, the endings only group, which are phonemes that end most of our words, the multi-sound vowel pairs, the silent GH group, the 3 sh musketeers, and finally, the Vive la France sounds. Shurley English uses sound cards mostly because they work, but there's a lot of research that explains why sound cards are so effective. They provide a manipulative for the students and the teacher. They provide mnemonics, auditory and visual input, kinesthetic cues and example words. This helps to build a confidence-based type of repetition. They provide instructional points and techniques for the teacher, and explanations for precise pronunciation of new sounds. In order to help students make important neural connections between the sound jingles and the sound cards, we engage them in multisensory sound practice every day. Here's an example on the left side of your screen. Through daily multisensory practice with the letters and the sounds they make, students apply their knowledge of the sound jingles and the sound cards and then put it into writing. You'll also notice that students are taught a vowel color code system and a consonant line code system. By doing this, students not only see, hear, say, write, and feel the letters and their sounds, but they also learn how to distinguish them in word analysis, which they'll be taught later. As you can see, the multisensory practice allows for students to learn the correct letter formation and correct pronunciation of each of those sounds. We'll be covering concepts in consonants, vowels, vowel pairs, and letter teams, all through the multisensory practice time. As previously mentioned, students are taught to color code their vowels. All of the vowels have at least 2 sounds, a short sound and a long sound. But vowels A, U, and O have 3 sounds, a short sound, a long sound, and a third uncommon sound. For the first sound of vowels, we color code them black. For the sound which is their second sound, the one that names their letter name, that is color-coded in blue. And finally, if it is one of the vowels that has a third sound, it will be color-coded in red. Line codes are used if consonants have more than one sound. We would place one line under the first sound and 2 lines under the second one, like this. Notice, the first sound of S gets 1 line. That's the sound that says S. And the second sound gets 2 lines. It's the sound that sounds like this, Z. As we move into decoding skills, the first 2 decoding skills will include stretchy sounds and choppy sounds. Let's do an activity to help you understand the difference between them. Put your hands out in front of you and pretend that you are stretching a rubber band as you say the ah sound. If you can sustain the sound, it's a stretchy sound. The same would be true of the F sound. Let's try it. Now get your invisible rubber band ready and try to stretch it as you pronounce the f sound. Again, because it is a sustainable sound, we call it a stretchy sound. Remember, only certain sounds are stretchy. Although only some of the letters can be stretchy sounds, all of the letters can be pronounced in a choppy way. Let's try an activity so that you can see what I mean. Move your hand in the air in a choppy motion as if you are going to chop a tree. And then you will say each sound. I will demonstrate just a few of them. Are you ready? Listen carefully. A, F, J, V, Z. Do you hear how quickly we pronounce the sound and then jump right back off of it again? That is a choppy pronunciation. All of the letters can be pronounced in a choppy sound. And once students understand the difference between the stretchy and choppy sounds, we have paved the road for blending. Once students know stretchy and choppy sounds, they can begin to blend the sounds. Shurley English sound cards become a hands-on visual learning tool, as well as personal-sized sound cards that students can use for independent practice. Next, in decoding, we'll discuss letter patterns. After students have developed their understanding of stretchy and choppy sounds and blending sounds, they'll begin to notice letter patterns automatically. We will directly teach them letter patterns such as vowel-consonant, consonant-vowel, and consonant-vowel-consonant patterns, in addition to others that will come later. To help students become fully aware of how letters and sounds are working together in words, we use the 5-code system to teach them word analysis. You already know about the vowel color codes and the line codes, but we also teach circle codes for silent final E, the highlight code for multi-letter phonemes, and the box codes for letters that sound like another letter and for silent letters other than E. Students will develop their expertise using the 5-code system for word analysis during their spelling notebook time. Notice that in the spelling notebook, they are practicing in a multisensory way. They're using color codes for vowels, line codes for consonants that carry more than one sound. They're also getting vocabulary enrichment, spelling practice, and sentence sense work. When students learn to use the coding system during word analysis, the complexity level has been ramped up because it turns invisible decoding strategies into visible hands-on learning. It also helps students visually recognize spelling patterns and how sounds work together to make words. It makes the labication of longer words a much easier skill and strengthens the neural connections by fusing together visual, auditory, and kinesthetic learning. With these sound and letter skills firmly in place, students learn how to build words using their knowledge of word patterns. Notice how the vowel A starts to build and become the word bland. A, an, and, band, and finally bland. We also help teachers make formative assessments of students' progress during Shurley English instruction. Shurley English provides different forms of reading assessments, such as the daily sound quiz and the combo quiz, which will include phonemic awareness skills, spelling, and sentence sense. Finally, let's explore how the Shurley reading approach helps students read and understand literature. When students have completed the primary grades, their reading accuracy should be sufficient enough to analyze various genres of literature at their grade level. This is an excerpt from 2nd grade. Students will read it multiple times with teacher support and in small pairs and groups and whole class settings. Then the teacher will guide the students through several research-based strategies such as summarizing or retelling, determining author's purpose, and answering text-dependent questions. With questions designed to help even our youngest students think analytically, they become better prepared to handle the rigors of reading closely in the later grades. Students are taught how to make inferences based upon textual clues. Various reading passages, both fiction and nonfiction, are interwoven into each literature time. In the early grades, reading passages, anchor texts, and poetry are printed several times to promote multiple readings, which has a powerful impact on their fluency development. Here's an example of a close reading practice, where students will learn to analyze informational text using close reading skills. They would first of all read the Old Spanish Trail. And then after reading it once or twice, or maybe even 3 times, the teacher would begin asking questions such as these. When was the Old Spanish Trail developed? Next, they would go back to the text and search for evidence to explain their answer. Number 2. Where did the Old Spanish Trail begin, and where did it end? Again, the students would go back to the text and analyze it to find evidence to support their answer. And finally, number 3. Which sentence in the article explains why the Old Spanish Trail originated? Again, the students would go back to the text and find information to serve as evidence for their answer. Students get first-hand experience reading and analyzing various text types. This helps prepare them for close reading. In this 6th grade example, students read a fine piece of literature, and then the teacher guides their thinking through strategic text-dependent questions. Shurley English equips students to meet reading outcomes through these steps to literacy. We've discussed letter-sound jingles, sound cards, multisensory practice, decoding, word analysis, word patterns, formative assessment, and literature analysis. Shurley English gives students the concrete steps necessary to make the connection between letters, their sounds, and the words they make. Shurley English gives students the tools they need to become competent, confident readers. Join the Shurley English revolution today. If you would like more information, please contact our corporate office at 800-566-2966, or you can reach us on the web at www.shurley.com. This has been a Shurley English presentation.